Welcome to Dirt Secrets, where we dig deep into the stories, strategy, and surprises of building and buying in Central Florida's hottest neighborhoods.
We're Kim and Amanda from Builders Concierge Group, your insiders in the builder world.
From helping builders create custom urban infill projects, even when that means knocking down an old home, to guiding buyers and relocation clients through every step.
We know the dirt, the deals, and the details that turn big dreams into beautiful addresses.
So grab your hard hat
And your coffee.
Let's dig in. Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Dirt Secrets. I'm Kim.
And I'm Amanda.
And we're here to talk about new construction versus resale today. I know when consumers are out looking, they're comparing both, obviously, especially in urban infill neighborhoods like we work in. There's some beautiful resale available that lots of wonderful things have been done to. So I know it's a tough choice, for a consumer right now. And definitely, we're in a housing shortage. We still don't have enough units to satisfy all the household formation. And that's where new construction is coming in to fill in the gaps, especially out in the exurbs. But in the core markets, we're still in a tight inventory situation for new homes, especially. For example, there's only about 3 months of supply in College Park of new construction, whereas there's 5 months of supply of resale. Because as you know, if you've gone out and looked at a house, the resale's all over the place. You can go into something, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect.
This is perfect.
And then you can walk into something and go, oh, that's interesting. So, I think that's the safety of new construction is, that everything's new, everything's the latest in design, technology. And that's why the insurance companies love new homes.
It makes a big difference on insurance.
And operating cost. I mean, think about, just
insulation,
the efficiency, and I'll tell people it's like even a home that's only 10 years old, the energy efficiencies we've made with the insulation and with the AC unit efficiency, thermostat efficiency.
Right.
You don't think about it, but we used to have to go in and set our thermostat. And then when you'd leave, you'd set it again. And then you'd come home and you'd turn it down again. Oh, I forgot.
Especially vacation.
Yeah. And so with smart thermostats and thermostats that are just constantly monitoring the data, it can keep your house at just the perfect temperature. And I didn't realize that a smart thermostat can lower your costs like 10%. So just by monitoring it constantly.
I have a funny story. I bought a house recently and it has a Nest thermostat. I had to call my AC company in because I thought it wasn't working. I came home one day, but we've had a few hot spells, unusually, hot days recently, up and down. So I called my AC guy, shows up immediately. He's wonderful. If you ever need referrals, we have tons of them. But he shows up immediately, takes a look. He goes, I charged it, really didn't need it. Everything looks good. Well, what I finally realized, it turns itself off when we're not there. Don't know why. Don't know if it's looking at me. I'm a little concerned about some things. So I was like, why does it do that?
Is it watching
when there's not movement in the house and they realize no one's in the house, it just turns itself off.
Yeah.
And the second the door opens, they're like, hey, we're back on. I'm like, why is it so hot in here? I'm like, but it's blowing out cold air. So confusing for a minute. But yeah, they do that. They're almost too smart.
I do prefer the ones that are wireless with an app. I have a Honeywell that I can control.
Well, there's a setting inside that you can change it. So I chose not to because I'm like, I'm never going to remember. And
it's smart. I mean, it's doing the thinking for us. Yeah. Exactly.
And it's tracking me somehow, but so is my phone. So is literally
so is
my car. Everything
days,
else is doing it. So I can't fight it.
And think about, and I've owned 2 new homes and 2 used homes. And just the maintenance. It's like,
Very different.
I've got a 50s house now and I love it so much, but it's constant. There is always something breaking.
You have made that house practically brand new.
I thought I had, but not really. And, every time something breaks, it's never cheap.
Right.
It is never cheap. What you think is going to be $500 is $5,000. But with your new home, you can really control your maintenance costs so much. You can just put in, change the AC filter, have the AC serviced a couple times a year. I mean, you're in pennies the first year for maintenance, just routine things that you'd have to do at any house.
Right.
And just having all those systems, brand new and operating at peak efficiency. And talk a little bit about that. I think that's the important thing is that your first 7 years of operating that house, you're getting homes.
The first 7 years, most of us don't live in our home for more than 7 years. So it just depends on where you're at. So, new construction specifically, as we're speaking of right this minute, tends to be larger. You know, the land costs, we have to build more, you know, less expensive square footage that doesn't have plumbing and cabinets and, you know, stuff like that in it, countertops. It's are less expensive. So that drives everything upstairs. It drives more bedrooms, more space. So specifically new construction kind of stuff that we're dealing with, insulation is key. I mean, the amount of things you've just recently dealt with, open cell foam insulation will keep the home quiet. It keeps it energy efficient. Call us to dive in deeper about what that is, but it also closes your soffits. You had a big issue with this just recently, and then in the resale homes, this makes a huge difference.
I just had to evict an entire colony. It wasn't just a family, it was a colony. They had their own community in my attic of rats.
Parties in the middle of the night.
Parties in the middle of the night. And what rats can do to your attic is quite disturbing. And so you have to have all your insulation sucked out after you get rid of the rats, and then have all new insulation put back in. And I'm the same thing the whole time. I'm like, if I had open cell and solid soffits, I wouldn't be dealing with this right now. Yeah.
And it's also the number one cause of house fires. So it's an insurance security thing, or insurance advantage, if you will, as well, for cost. The number one cause of house fires. At least your house didn't catch on fire. Chewing on wires, and you got hold of, you know, at least those kept you up at night and had to get them out. And like, I'm tired of the parties at 2 a.m. So it's not fun. And these things, it's funny when we're showing homes and I detail that, everybody's like, oh, I've been there. You know, I have been there too. So that's why I can talk about it as well. So those are advantages, both insurance wise and cost wise. And quite frankly, what you had to do to get rid of everything because of what they did to your insulation is gross. It's a whole thing. So there are major advantages to new construction over resale, but then there's positive, negative to everything, right?
Absolutely.
So we've got a lot of great things in resale as well. You know, I just recently bought a house. I think I've mentioned this a few times.
She's very excited.
I'm very excited. And it was completely redone. I know. I do this for a living, and I bought a house completely redone. I do it for other people. Evidently, I don't have time to do it for myself.
And it's time consuming. It's like the shoemaker's children who have no shoes.
That's right. Those all of our builders' wives or wives or husbands.
I'd like a new kitchen.
Could they do work on my house? They don't want to go home and keep doing what they do all day long. So their contractors' houses are usually the worst. So same thing here. So the house was, it's beautiful. It's so me. It's like she knew exactly what I wanted. So she had redone the home, multiple offers. I went over ask. Always don't be afraid of going over ask. You make it up in the long run. But I had to have that home. It was everything I wanted to do. And there's a lot of advantage to resale when it's done right like that. So it can have, and it appraised, even though I went over ask excluded the appraisal contingency. So there's a lot of advantages to resale as well. So price comes into play. The cost of construction it's very expensive right now.
New construction is expensive and getting more so. You do reap advantages in operating costs, but you are going to pay more up front. There's no doubt about it. But with the shortage of inventory, I have noticed that good resale and new construction are getting closer and closer in price per square foot. You know, there always used to be at least a 15 to 20% differential between used and new. And people are doing these amazing renovations, and that cost is getting closer and closer. And sometimes resale's the right choice. Right. It's smaller, like you've always, established neighborhoods, mature landscaping. There's some definite advantages for people who don't need, because unfortunately the builders are having to max out every lot.
And they're big houses.
Not everybody needs a 3,200 square foot house.
Or wants it.
So there is definitely a market, but you look at it and it's just so competitive for good resale. I mean, like you said, multiple offers. When people have done the right renovation, they will get their dollars back. No doubt about it. They will go off market immediately.
Right. And right renovation is not just lipstick.
No.
I mean, that house was really pretty.
There's always flipper specials.
New plumbing. Yeah. Be careful with that. Make sure you have a right inspector and you do the right things. We're rebuilding a house for somebody right now as well. We've got a pre-sale that we're doing with a different builder. So there's a lot here to talk about, but that jewel box of a home, make sure it has new plumbing, new electric. I mean, there was things that were done to this home in the inspection. I was like, oh my God, it's like brand new. My insurance doesn't reflect that, but I also don't have the latest and greatest technology that we have today. That is why you get that advantage.
Right.
with insurance. So new is always going to win on insurance in the state of Florida. So yeah, those sizes, single story, a lot of people are just like, I'm never going to go upstairs. Why do I have to own that? And we have damper systems. Or a lot of times we're seeing people now, with the energy calcs, it's always nice to have one system with a damper, but they're almost more efficient having two. So I've been seeing more and more smaller separate units instead of a damper system, so you can control the first and second floor completely separate. It is two positive and negative everything.
Yep, you got two units to maintenance. You got two sets of filters to buy every month. Yeah,
and should be on a maintenance program on a yearly or every 6 months where they come and clean it. It's expensive if you do it the first time, but if you put it on a contract, you actually save money. Yeah, and you elongate the life of your system, and you reduce the risk of being without it in the hot summer months when it's getting overworked by staying on a
They always break down on Saturday night on a holiday weekend. That is inevitably when air conditioners break.
And when everybody's out of town.
When everybody's out of town and nobody's available.
That's right.
So positioning these things in the marketplace, it's selling new construction versus selling resale. It's definitely, people say, oh, you put it in the MLS. It's
yes, you put it in the MLS.
That's obviously the first start. That's only one step. But obviously,
and order a sign. That's your second step.
Take pictures. But positioning that in the market, it is totally different.
We have made
and there are certain changes. Buyers that are only new home buyers, and you've got to figure out how to talk to them.
That's right.
How to speak their language. And agents, have that upfront discussion. There is no use of showing somebody. It can be the most beautiful renovation in the world, but if they're new home buyers and they go in and see 8-foot ceilings and just some functional obsolescence, they're like, well, why am I looking at this? You're wasting your time and theirs. Have a talk to them. Say, have you ever owned a new home? That's what I open up with. If they've owned a new home, they are new home fans. Yeah. If they have ever bought, even if it was like their starter basic production big box builder,
that's right.
They are a fan because they love that warranty. They love everything being shiny new.
Nobody else ever lived there with nail clippings. All of
the things. And you definitely, have that conversation up front and say, okay, here's what's available in the market. I think everybody starts like mass sending a potential buyer stuff. They see so much, they get confused. Then they put them on a drip campaign. Then they're spending on Realtor and Zillow every night until 2 a.m. and they're sending you barrage of houses, and it becomes data overload. It's like if you have that interview, that good in-depth interview with that buyer up front, you can show them exactly what they need. They're going to appreciate you saving their time. You're going to appreciate the time you've saved. And they're going to be like, oh, she gets me. He gets me. They really know exactly what I want. Every one of these houses could work for my family. There's nothing more disappointing than walking in a house and you see the look on their face. You're like, oh, well, we wasted our time over here. And then you have to like kind of revamp. You have to like reposition. You're like, okay, this one didn't work, but let's go see the next one to keep that excitement going. That's why I really think those of you who are listing agents, I think your storytelling is really important.
Your listening skills and repeat back, make sure it's very clear that you both are on the same page so that you can guide them. This is the most expensive purchase in most people's lives. This is where they feel safe when they go home. It's also an investment vehicle. I mean, what realtors do as professionals, and we're supposed to all be professionals, and I do understand that that's something that we can't say about our entire profession. It's extremely important what we do. It's mission critical, and it starts by listening and giving them proper guidance about what's most important to them. So when they're sending you things because they love it and like, this is what I'm looking for, and then you look at the location, you're the one who knows the location. That's why you know when you work with a realtor, you can't work with somebody that, I'm going to give you 80% of my commission back. They don't know anything. They don't care either.
They're working remotely. They're a referral agent.
They don't care about you either. And leaving that in the hand, I mean, that's like going to the department store and saying, hey, can you do my heart surgery? I really like you. I think you can give me a discount too. I mean, I know that's crazy, but it's true. You've got to think through these things. This is extremely important. And the amount of things that can go wrong and what it can cost you is insane. So it really goes back to really understanding and listening and guiding them and making sure you're working with an agent that knows, is hyper local to where you want to be.
Right.
And What if you're new to the area? And you sit down and have the conversation. What's most important to you?
Right.
I have people that they're going and looking at new construction with us, and they're like, all these homes, they're used to cookie cutter communities.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to everything being manicured. Why did we just sit down and have a conversation? Why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
If you know that's what's important to them, you need to guide them in that direction. Mm-hmm. And if it's not an area you know very well, but you know of the area, refer it to somebody that you know and trust to take care of that client. Don't try to be everything to everybody. It's just not fair. I mean, we have a huge responsibility to all of our clients, both sellers and buyers. And it does, again, it starts with listening and having that interview. Kim always shows 3 homes. Which one do you like? They always pick one. And that starts at the very, very beginning, and it gets hyper local. We don't go and sell homes where we don't know the area, by the way. We refer it out. We call it, we just recently learned a term from mailbox money. It's a referral check, but we call it mailbox money. We just did one from a past client. We interviewed out in Texas. They bought in Houston. They needed to relocate. They said, do you know anybody? I don't know anybody in Houston. You did the research. I called and did the interview. I didn't have to call anybody else. He was perfect. They closed.
Oh,
we got a nice check for it.
And they were taken care of is the most important thing.
They were so happy. They're like, you were right. Chris was he was perfect. Because I knew that client so well, I was able to interview and make sure there was the right fit. And now we're going to sell his home here.
It's matchmaking.
It's matchmaking, but you interview. It's just not, hey, you want to pay me? No. Do you work? Can you work well and take care of my client? Because this is really, we can't take this stuff lightly. And it is not an individual transaction, each one. This is a big picture. We always run our business as professionals. We are looking out for our client's best interest first and foremost. And it will always benefit everybody in the long run. I always say it. Everybody needs a win-win. We have to do this. But boy, do we see a lot of stuff that just, it's sad. And, you know, these discount brokers and agents, you know, I want brand new agents. We were brand new. Hell, I learn something new every day.
We were all new at once. And, you know,
I'm still learning every day.
There's always something new to learn in this business. And, you know,
but they need to work with as brand new. They need to work with people who actually really do so they can learn it the right way and be a true professional.
Work on a team
in this business.
and learn the business from the right way. A little bit back to new construction, you know, we're hearing, you know, we see a lot of ads from the box builders going, free this and extra that and 20,000 for this. And obviously there in the exurbs and suburbs, there is a little bit of excess production inventory. Affordability, of course, is an issue in that price range. Don't see it so much in the urban infill because those are typically a little more custom, a little more expensive homes. But, you know, discounting your house is not always the best method. You really need to find out what that buyer needs. Maybe that buyer needs an extended closing because their job doesn't start. Maybe they're very well qualified, but because they're short on cash. Sometimes the best deal is not the lowest deal. In fact, many times the best deal is not the lowest deal. It's the total package that works the best for the buyer. And I think that's really important. Once again, there's the asking questions and listening part. Then it's like, well, when do you need this? And sometimes it's like, well, if you don't need something for 90 days, why don't we go over here and look at this house that's not finished because you may get a better offer by taking this off the builder's books. You know, he only has one finished house, but he has 6 unfinished houses. Let's go over and look at one of those because it works better for your time frame. And, you know, people have contingencies, a lot more contingencies in this market than we've seen in a while, right?
Every one of them.
Every one of them. Used to be somebody said a house to sell. You're like, no problem. I know you'll sell that next week.
Our economy is a little different right now.
It is a little different right now. So, you know, you have to really carefully examine. And builders, you got to be willing to take some of these contingencies on a short-term basis because that might be the difference in you getting that buyer. Because once you get them at least emotionally tied into that house, then they're going to do everything they can to get rid of that other one. They're going to be much more motivated on price reductions. They're going to be much more motivated on incentives for financing. When they don't have any place to go, it's just an idea at that point in time. You know, it's just a wish.
Well, and then they're worried that it's not going to be there later. And then they're out, continue to look.
They're continuing to look.
Then they forget what they saw because they get confused. You know,
so use that contingency to tie them up and get
short
them
term.
happy. Yeah, short term.
There's ways to do it.
But it's like we all work harder if we have a goal.
That's right.
If you know that's your house, you're like, that's my house. You're going to do everything you can to get in there.
You get an opportunity to negotiate. So if you knowing you're getting a deal over here, it may change what you think you have to get on yours.
Absolutely.
And now you're getting a win-win. And
Absolutely.
you're moving where you need to be. If it's for the job, it's for school, it's to be closer to parents or kids or whatever it is.
Whatever that motivation is.
It allows you to get that negotiation and everybody to work it out up front. Give that 30 days to get that house sold, and you're going to be more motivated to listen. There's a saying too, and this becomes extremely important. And listen to your realtor. And if you've chosen them, then trust them. Period. End of sentence. And listen to them. Don't overprice your house. Don't say my neighbor got this. I paid quite a bit for my house over what the market is because it was completely redone. It appraised because it was completely redone. There's a house that's original on my street, and they're pricing it right about what I paid for it. And we're like, what the heck? That's not ever going to work. And nobody's winning at this point, and it's just going to sit. Listen to your realtor. Don't overprice it. Don't decide you don't do this for a living. There are over 2,000 moving parts and pieces in a transaction. Listen, because that's the key. Getting off market. Your first offer, I have yet to see, is not your best offer.
99.9% of the time.
It really is. And it becomes extremely important going pending. And then coming off market, it gets a stigma, and we need to stop doing that because there are so many reasons why that happens that you need to pick up the phone, call and ask. Don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions about days on market either, especially if it's new construction. There's a lot of things here. But yeah, just listen to your realtor. There's a saying, it's best to be the first love, the second wife, and the third realtor. And by the time you get to the third realtor, you're like, okay, the first one was right.
Maybe they do know what they want.
Now these two other realtors who are excellent told you to do the same thing. And now you're finally going, okay, there's a message here. Listen to your realtor and listen to your market. If you're not getting showings, you have a price problem. You might have a picture problem.
You have a presentation problem.
Yes, because the first 15 showings minimum are online before they ever step foot or decide to come step foot in the house. Toilet seats go down.
It's pretty.
Clean
Make
your
sure
house.
it smells good.
Yes, smells. All of our senses come into play when we actually step on site. But listen, price it right. Don't waste anybody's time, especially yours. You got to get the house ready. You got to get them in the door.
Show, get the pets gathered up. Make sure the kitchen's clean. Showing a house when you're living in it is a pain.
Painful.
It is painful. Yeah. So make that a minimum. Price it right. Get it going. Make sure that your agent is broadcasting it everywhere beyond MLS. He or she needs to tell the story about why that house is a great house to live in. You need to make sure that your agent has a good presence on social media because, like Amanda said, first 15 showings, they're not just on Zillow and Realtor. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. And if you'd have told me that 3 years ago, I'd have been like, no, houses are still belly to belly. But everybody wants an easy, at least those first showings, they want that easy way to do it. And open houses, they do work. Open houses work for new construction and for resale because it's a soft way to get excited. You don't have to engage an agent. You don't have to have their time, have a set time with them. You're like, oh, good. I've got a 3-hour window to go in and see how I feel about this.
That's right.
And sometimes it's just that first visit. They're like, yeah. And then the wheels start turning and they go back and figure out how can I make this happen for me? And sometimes that open house is the very first step. You may not sell them the house that you're sitting open in, but you may sell them something 3, 6, 9 months down the road. Right. Everybody's time frame is different. And I think the most important thing is obviously as salespeople, which, as real estate agents, we are also salespeople, we tend to try to create urgency and FOMO. But the reality is everybody's time frame is very personal, and you have to respect that and say, okay, we'll talk again in 30 days, but just, keep in touch. And that's one thing, we do open house every weekend. And it, sometimes you'll see people are like, oh, I saw you a year ago at blah, blah, blah address 123. And they're like, yeah, we're just getting, now we're getting serious. Right. Now we're ready. Now we're ready to put our house on the market. Now we're ready to do these things. Everybody's time frame is different. It's like some people file their taxes the day they get their 1099. Some people do extensions and the day before it's due go, oh, heck. We all do things on different time frames. And there's no use of pushing that or rushing that. The only thing that I will tell any buyer you're losing out on is prices are going to continue to go up. It may be 3%, it may be 5%, it may be 10%, depending on your zip code and submarket, but prices are not going down. We hope interest rates will moderate a little bit, but other than that, every month you don't buy, especially if you're renting, but every month you don't buy, you are losing equity, you're losing time, because when you really start making money on that house, and we know most people move every 7 to 10 years in this market, but when you really start gaining equity in the house is when you're at about year 10. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's like that interest payment gets smaller and that is going more and more and more to equity.
Well, shoot, we're seeing even now you're walking in with equity. Mm-hmm. The builders are open to negotiation way more now than they've ever been. Mm-hmm. Yes, we're still in a shortage, but it's getting a little more. We're probably more in a stable market than we are in the buyer or seller market at this point. But there are deals to be had. Then we get an appraisal, and we see that the appraisal is higher than what it came in at or what we're contracted at. You're walking in with equity at that point. So there's a lot of different ways to see this. And then interest rate, it's going to change. That's the thing. Your house is forever. Your interest rate is not.
No, it's not.
So when things do come down, so if it works for you now, you got to add up what's the difference in my payment over 36 months. Look at that number and please tell me if that really makes that big a difference to you. If it does, don't do it. Right. But you really understand the numbers. Don't just look at, it's 6.5 and my house now is 5.5. I want to get in the 5s, or I bought when the market crashed. I'm waiting for this market to crash. The only time the housing market crashed, the market in general crashed.
The whole economy crashed.
The whole economy crashed. The Great Recession, if you will. The housing market was responsible. It was the subprime market. It was the things that shouldn't have been going on that the stock, the government and, the market allowed for that moment. It was some stuff that we're never going to see again. Guys, not in our lifetime. So when you start looking at the factors that really create a market crash, if you will, know the whole picture, understand it. It's like Kim talked earlier, know your whole deal. It's not just the number. It's everything associated with it. Paying $20,000 over ask is a difference of $150 a month, whatever. And then the interest rates come down and now you're building equity and you got the home that you love. You're not going anywhere after it. You got to look at the big picture. There's so much more to it. And when I have to have this number. I can't overpay. Why not? Builders overpay for dirt all the time. And when they don't, they're making mistakes because they're losing. It's just, you got to look at the big picture. It all starts at planning and knowing everything. We talk about this from the very beginning when we start planning new builds and design and everything. What do you put in a house? What is the market expectations? Those change constantly. So pay attention to the big picture. Hire a realtor that you truly understand and truly trust and listen to them. Just let them share why. Get the facts from them. You want to know, you don't have to just trust them. Okay, if you say so. Understand the whole big picture. Make sure that they're giving you the facts of why this is their recommendation and that they're marketing you on multiple platforms. It's not just MLS and a sign anymore. That has market trends have definitely shifted
so much.
A lot. And that's why we're here today.
Yeah. So if you're interested in talking about a new home or talking about finding a great resale, we're here. And this has been another episode of Dirt Secrets. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Kim.
And I'm Amanda. Call us if you have any questions.
We're here. That's another episode of Dirt Secrets, where we uncover the real stories and strategies behind building and buying in Central Florida.
If you're a builder ready to make your mark with a custom urban infill project, a buyer looking for the perfect home, or someone relocating here for a fresh start, we're here to guide you from blueprint to closing.
Make sure to follow the show on your favorite podcast app so you never miss a single secret and to stay ahead of the market.
You can find us at buildersconciergegroup.com or on Instagram and Facebook at Builders Concierge Group, where we share listings, behind-the-scene tours, and sneak peeks of what's coming next.
We'd love to hear from you. Send your questions, your dream home wish list, or your own dirt secret, and we might feature it in a future episode.
Remember, whether you're breaking ground, buying your first home, or finding your Florida forever home,
the right property isn't just built, it's crafted with the right team, the right strategy, and the right connections.
You've been listening to Dirt Secrets, and we'll see you on the next episode.